Chris Woakes did not bowl well. His first ball went to the rope when he was too full. Later, he was too full again. And after a while, he went too short. If you're wondering what he was supposed to do or what he usually does, just watch Matt Henry bowling against Jarrod Malan. And when you see something like Woakes failing, it is worth looking at whether he just got worse as a power play bowler since the last time we took notice of him, 2019 World Cup, or if it was just one of those days. And he hasn't got that much worse. He's only bowled up front in 16 games, but he still takes a lot of wickets. Like many bowlers, that reinforced Kookaburra seam is working beautiful for him. He was only going at 4 runs and over in the power play in the last 4 years as well. Today, he went at 4 runs off the first ball and lots of 4s. Sadly, there were more than 1 4 in each over. New Zealand had batted for 5 and they were 27 for 1. And they had yet to score a single run from Sam Curran at the other end. Nothing about this game was normal. And so the question is, does this horrendous loss for England actually tell us whether they can or cannot win the World Cup? This video is brought to you by Wicket Cricket Manager. England are the team that attacks in the power plays, while the Kiwis usually knock it around. Last 2 years, England has been 0.6 runs and over quicker than the Kiwis. Today, the New Zealanders were 3 runs and over quicker. That's 30 runs over. You get the maths. The power play is very important to England because they have always found a way to take wickets up top and their batters can score quicker than pretty much everyone else. But that was the England of 2019. What even is the England of 2023? In some ways, they have an incredibly similar squad. David Willey was the last person cut last time and he's in this squad. Malan, Brooke, Livingston, Curran and Topley are the only members of this squad who weren't around the 2019 edition. But Topley, Curran and Malan all made their debuts in the old cycle. So really the only new faces in this World Cup are Livingston and Brooke. What I'm saying is England is old and experienced and it's pretty much a very similar team to last time. But they don't play as much ODI cricket as they used to, and there's no doubt that they spent a lot of time switching their thoughts to the last back-to-back T20 World Cups, and they only pivoted to the ODIs like a couple of days after winning that trophy. So what has actually changed with England other than some teams catching up? Well, before, all their players had a clearly defined roles that they had done for a lot of time. England spent 4 years grooving their players into ODI rhythm. Not sure if those puns were intended or not. And yet you look at 2023 and they would end up with Harry Brook at number 4 and Malan opening. And the new opener did struggle, but we've seen him make runs against the exact same attack very recently in seamer-friendly bowling conditions as well. But even if Malan works, he will be different than Roy. The 2019 openers added 576 runs from 7 innings at an average of 82.28 and scoring at 6.73 runs and over. That made them the best opening pair of the tournament. At the very least, you would assume that Malan is going to be a lot slower than Roy. Brooke at 4 was probably just a thing that happened because of Stokes' injury. But Stokes is different himself, right? He probably won't bowl in this tournament, unless something goes really wrong or he just gets bored. And while he was never a great ODI bowler, in Indian conditions, he allowed for England to have him as a 3rd or 4th seamer. They don't have that luxury anymore. Now, no one should get too worried about Brooke failing at 4 in 1 innings. However, he's just not played a lot of 50 over cricket like ever in his life. And number 4 is the trickiest position to just walk into. There is clearly in this side no Owen Morgan replacement. And in some ways, this actually means that England have more power because it means that Buttler can bat higher and that means they fit Livingston in below. So there is actually more boom in the middle. In fact, if you think about it this way, they've lost a little bit of boom from Roy, but they've added a little bit of boom from Livingston. They've just reboomed. But it does mean that they don't have the 3 great strike manipulators of the last tournament. In fact, in this game, they only had 1. And I don't think it was the only issue, but I certainly think it was one of them. By the final last time, Chris Woakes was at number 7 and Moeen Ali wasn't in the team. In this game, Woakes came in to bat at number 9. So their much talked about long batting lineup is back. But what about the ball? Jofra Archer, he would be handy. I think they went from a potential winner to a favourite in 2019 just by fast-tracking his paperwork. And of course, he is in India, kind of. He's like the weird guy that comes to your party but won't actually come inside. Have you ever wondered how I watch so much cricket? I use VPNs to log into accounts from all around the world. But because before, even simple things like when something exciting would happen in a match, I would rush over to social media, and when I got there, the clips would say something along the lines of, "This video is not available in your area." In fact, most of the coolest cricket stuff in the world at the moment is geo-blocked because some random board didn't sign a deal where you happen to live. If you're a hardcore cricket nerd, the only way is to have a VPN, and we suggest Surfshark. They will give you the speed of your favorite quick bowler. They're as inventive as a T20 batter after a bunch of dot balls, and they're as secure as a specialist wicketkeeper with the softest hands in the world. And guess what? The kind folks at Surfshark are going to give you a deal. Enter the promo code Kimber for an extra 3 months free at surfshark.deals/Kimber. There are probably other things that Surfshark can help you with, like data and identity theft and traceability and intrusive advertising. But for us, it is our best weapon against the evil cricket geoblock. Go to Surfshark and type my name in KIMBER and get 3 months free today. As we said before, Wokes' bowling has not really dropped off, despite everything he showed in the first game. Curran looked great with the new ball, even if his wicket was a little bit lucky. But he did look pretty ordinary after that. What was with all the weird slow balls that were loopy as shit? And if he's your Archer replacement, you're an incredibly different team. Mark Wood has just kind of changed roles, right? He's a middle overs Northern Seam replacement for the previous middle overs Northern Seamer. And Wood is faster than Plunkett. But again, England spent years getting the big fella to actually perfect his defensive cross-seam deliveries in those middle overs. Wood has bowled in 9 ODIs since the end of 2020. I mean, he doesn't play much of any cricket, does he? And back when he did play a lot of 50-over cricket, Plunkett was often in the side, so he had a completely different role. I think Wood can do the job, although again, he wasn't proving that correct in the first game. Adil Rashid in 2019 actually didn't have that good a tournament, but he was incredible in the lead-in. And he's really not been the same in ODIs ever since. Of course, England haven't played him that much of recent times either. But he certainly doesn't look like he'll strike as much, and he's not very good at keeping the runs down. Adil Rashid is certainly not the bowler he was last time. Moeen Ali will be able to bowl more in this tournament than he did in 2019 because the conditions will be more in his favour. But he's not traditionally a great wicket taker, but he can be economical. But when you look at their middle, unless Wood starts terrorising everyone, or Adil conquers the slower Indian wickets that he generally doesn't like as much, their middle is way worse than before. And what about the end? No Jofra, no death. Curran will sometimes find a way, and Wood should scare some lower order. Plus, Wokes is experienced and his numbers are fine at the death, although he hasn't bowled there that much of recent times. Wood just hasn't bowled at the death in ODI cricket for quite some time, and Curran has been getting absolutely smashed. Maybe they're just a Jofra away from this all working, but it doesn't look great on paper. So there are obviously 6 key areas of the game: the power plays, middle and death, with bat and with ball. I think all things considered, England might be different with the bat, but I'm not ready to sit here and say that they are worse. Perhaps if Milan and Livingston struggle, that is an issue. And of course, if Stokes keeps getting injured, Brook is going to have to stand up. But with the ability to bat slightly further down the order at the moment, I think their batting is okay. Again, despite what we saw in this first match. But with the ball, without Jofra, Puds or Adil Rashid of 2019, I would say they were currently worse in all 3 facets of bowling. Of course, Jofra might come back, and Mark Wood might turn into his own smaller pocket dynamo version of Plunkett, and of course they still have a version of Adil Rashid. But my big question after watching New Zealand slap them with 3 bowlers and 2 batters over and over again, did New Zealand find any of England's issues, or is this just one of those games? Because if this match happened in 2019, England had 4 years of winning behind them, and everyone knew exactly what to do next time. This time it's not quite the same, right? There were question marks about this English team already. New Zealand just made them flash in neon lights. Can England still win the World Cup? I mean, of course. But no one feels as confident as they did before this tournament started. England did not play well.